Could everyday habits be destroying your brain power? Here's what hurts cognitive function the most. Think your memory and focus are fine? These hidden brain killers may be holding you back. What's the worst thing you could be doing to your brain? Most people have no idea they're doing it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the biggest threats when it comes to brain performance so that you can stay your sharpest, look your sharpest, and feel your sharpest well into the future. I remember showing up at a hotel. It was a nice Beverly Hills hotel, and I was really excited for this health conference I was attending there. And right when I walked into the room, the back of my hair started to stand up. And I took a big inhale and I realized I could not stay in the room. I went down and I said, I apologize, I need a different room. They sent me to another room. Same thing, I had the same sensation. I had to leave the hotel that night and find a new place to stay. Mold can be very detrimental, and for some of us, the immune system can react in ways that cause the systemic inflammatory response. And in some cases, if it becomes chronic, it's a condition called CIRS, or chronic inflammatory reactive syndrome. And these mycotoxins pass through the blood-brain barrier, and they are one of the most detrimental things that keep us sick. And what most people are doing that destroys their brain health, and they don't even realize it, is they're in buildings with no air circulation. They're not getting outside. They're not getting direct sunlight. And if they do go out in the sun, they're putting on hats, they're covering their eyes with sunglasses. And what gets suppressed is this very important pathway in your immune system called the MSH pathway, or the melanocyte-stimulating hormone pathway. Now, most doctors miss this because they weren't taught about the MSH pathway. But once I started working on that pathway, not only did my brain turn on, but I had a whole realization that I needed to protect myself in whatever environment I ended up in. Because I do travel a lot, I attend a lot of conferences, I do training, speaking, all over the country, even internationally. And this one thing has helped protect my brain better than almost anything. And that's getting rid of mycotoxins, getting rid of mold. So in our clinical data, what we found is that over 85% of our clients, when tested for mycotoxic exposure and mycotoxin reactions, they test positive for things like aflatoxin, aspergillus. We also find that there's different forms of Candida albicans that are circulating in their body and they don't even know that they've got it. And the thing that's killing us, and what most people don't realize, is it's not just your environment, it's also the foods. Anytime you open a packaged good, some of those processed foods that taste so good and it's quick energy, it is a brain killer. And it's not only the mycotoxins that exist in those foods with a long shelf life, but it's also the fact that most of those foods have been sprayed by glyphosate or Roundup. And that glyphosate destroys bacteria, but when you take out bacteria, and if you've ever taken a round of antibiotics, you know on the flip side, you may put yourself at risk for having a fungal overgrowth or a yeast infection. And that's because these microorganisms coexist in the environment, but when you destroy one, another one can proliferate. And so these mycotoxins can be some of the deadliest things for your brain. The thing that they feed on is when you have heavy metal exposure. Now, where do you get heavy metals? Well, I love chocolate. Chocolate's great because it's got lots of magnesium, polyphenols. It's really good on the brain, but most chocolate naturally contains lead. It leaches lead, and a lot of the plants, especially the proteins you're taking, protein powders, increase of lead exposure. And that lead can start to harbor in your bones. It can be one of the triggers for osteopenia, osteoporosis, but it can also be one of the foods for these microorganisms. The other thing that we see is when you have mycotoxic exposure, not only does it downregulate your brain and it causes this glial activation, but you'll also find that you can have more pathogens in your gut. So for those of you who have fluctuations in your red blood cells, and you notice that some days you're energized and you feel great, and other days your energy is just so low, and your ferritin and iron levels can be really high one month, and next blood test you do, it's really low. Well, it's not just a B vitamin deficiency. You don't need more just B12 or more red meat, a lot of times it's because you have pathogens, maybe small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or maybe you've got like H. pylori, which is a bacterial infection that causes ulcers in the stomach, and that feasts on your iron. Or if your ferritin levels are really high and you notice your muscles are kind of sore and achy, you have the Tin Man syndrome, well, there's a good chance that you have some type of microorganism that is influencing your gut and influencing your muscles and your brain. So the best way that you can circumvent this is, number one, you want to work on that MSH pathway, which is called your melanocyte stimulating hormone pathway. There's two peptides that work really great for this. The first peptide is a peptide called melanotan, and is one of my favorite peptides because not only do you get the benefits of the immune protection, but you also can get tan because it works on the melanocytes. So you get this nice little melanin production. And that's how I can always look like I just got off a tropical vacation, even if I haven't necessarily been in the sun. The second peptide you can use is called KPV. Now this is a bioregulator peptide, but it seals up the leaky gut and it creates better digestive function. And you can use KPV in many different modalities. In one of the studies, they found that KPV, when given to mice that had colitis, these mice went into remission. So KPV can be very helpful in protecting your gut barrier. The second thing that you want to do is build up the mitochondrial energy, because anytime you're releasing mycotoxins from the body, those mycotoxins are going to have die-off, and that die-off is a noxious neurotoxin. So you can almost get more sick and feel worse if you're detoxifying if you don't build up the energy first. And so the mitochondria in your brain cells are very sensitive, and it's called a cell danger response, where they start producing ATP outside of the brain cells. And so the thing that we use for mitochondrial energy is a substance called methylene blue. And methylene blue, it activates the energy channel. It's an electron donor so that you get better mitochondrial expression. We also use a peptide called SS31. And SS31 has been studied for Alzheimer's disease and diabetes, because what it does is it protects the membrane of the mitochondria, and it helps remove old mitochondria that are underperforming. And so the third thing you want to do is make sure that you remove anything in your environment that may have mycotoxins. And this means having good airflow, getting an air purifier system in your house, and then every day spend 2 hours outside, ideally as the sun's rising. With no sunglasses on, you activate the melopsin receptors in the backs of your eyes, which reset your circadian rhythms. And then it also is the way that you activate your MSH pathway. And then as the sun's setting is another great way to calm down that sympathetic nervous response. You sleep better at night, you get better white blood cell expression, and you can literally transform the way your brain functions and stop doing the things that will destroy your brain over time if you're not careful. So if you would like to go deeper and find out, are mycotoxins and mold exposure part of my cognitive issue, then you can go to agelessfuture.com, and there's an easy test that we can do to see if that's one of the threats that you want to remove so that you can have the best future possible. We'll see you there.